After a 3-year hiatus, Bloc Party are finally releasing their 4th studio album called 4. Bloc Party's 3-year hiatus was excruciating for me because I am a huge Bloc Party fan. They're one of my favorite bands of all time, and I loved Intimacy, their previous album, so I was really hoping that they would get back together and make more music, and when they finally announced that they were, I was so relieved and so happy because I didn't know what was going to happen. There were rumors that Kelly was leaving the band, and then of course that turned out to be trolling, basically, apparently, but finally we now have their 4th studio album, appropriately titled 4 for multiple reasons, and the very first thing that I can say about it for sure is that it's not my favorite Bloc Party album. But it's also not my least favorite Bloc Party album. So before I get into 4, let me give you a little background on how I feel about their previous albums. Silent Alarm and Intimacy are up there for me, and A Weekend in the City was not my favorite. I like plenty of songs on A Weekend in the City, but Silent Alarm and Intimacy, I think I like the entire album. And they're very different, too, which is crazy. Silent Alarm feels much smaller in scope, and Intimacy is huge. It blows your face off. And to be honest, I was kind of hoping for Intimacy 2 with 4, although I guess I shouldn't have expected that once the first single came out, because it didn't sound like that. But I was definitely hoping for something that was going to just shake me and not let me go until I was finished with the album, and then still hold on to me because I would be listening to it nonstop. Now, 4 is definitely more along the lines of Silent Alarm, in my opinion. This actually feels smaller than Silent Alarm in a lot of ways. This album, 4, actually feels almost like they opened up their garage door and just played the whole thing from out of a garage. That's kind of what it feels like, which is cool because it's just, I don't know, it's different and interesting, and they always have a new sound on every album, so it's definitely interesting, but unfortunately, I was definitely hoping for some bigger songs, which I definitely don't think they're as big, if big is the right word, than the songs on Intimacy. That being said, I really like 4 a lot. It took a little while for me to get into it, actually, whereas with Intimacy, right away I was down. I was totally all for it. But with this one, the first time I listened to it, I was like, it's good. I like some songs, and it kind of felt like how I felt listening to A Weekend in the City. But after listening to it more and more, I gotta say, I really like 4 a lot, and I definitely think I like it more than A Weekend in the City. It's kind of tough to compare them because, you know, I was at a different place in my life when A Weekend in the City came out, so maybe if that came out now, I would feel differently, so hopefully you understand that. But in general, 4 definitely grew on me. Big time. One small problem I have that I can't quite figure out exactly how I feel about it, but it's definitely there, is that the album feels a little bit disjointed, and I don't know if it's in individual songs or if it's the album overall, like different songs on the album together, but something about it feels a little bit off. And you could say that all of their albums feel that way because some songs are totally different than other songs, but something about this one just, it doesn't mesh in some way, and I can't figure out exactly what it is, but it's not a major problem. It definitely hasn't put me off to the album at all. As far as which songs I like the best, honestly, it would probably be easier to list which songs I don't like as much because I really like all of them, and it took me, like I said, a little while to get into it. It took me a few listens to really be like, okay, I'm digging this. But my definite favorite song, as soon as I heard it, I was like, this is going down as one of my favorites, is VALIS. I love that song. I think it's really catchy. It gets stuck in my head, and I really love the way that some of the vocals sound. I think it's great. My next favorite, I think, honestly, is 3x3, which when I first listened to it, I was like, what the hell is this song? I felt creeped out, but the more I listened to it, I'm like, no, this is badass. This is awesome. I also really like Team A, which I feel like is very Silent Alarm. I don't know, it just, the way Kelly's singing, I think, maybe more than anything, feels very Silent Alarm to me, but then the music kind of reminds me of Octopus, so that's where it grounds it back to 4. And by the way, Octopus and Day 4, they were obviously released as singles, and so I don't think of them as my favorite songs, even though I like them a lot, because I had already heard them prior to it, but Octopus is definitely one of my favorite songs on the album as well. And my last favorite, I think, and like I said, I like all of them, is Leaf Skeleton, which is a bonus track, and it kind of feels musically like a Silent Alarm era song, so that definitely hit me right away when I first heard it, and I was like, whoa, this sounds cool. It sounds almost like a sequel to a song from back then, so I really like that a lot. And even though it's not my favorite song, I would like to mention Coliseum, where did this song come from? When I first listened to it, I was like, what is this? This is not Bloc Party. But then it turns into a definite Bloc Party song. At first, sounds nothing like them at all, which is cool, different, weird, but cool. But overall, like I said, even though I do have some favorites, I really like the whole thing, and it definitely had to grow on me. It's not my favorite Bloc Party album, but I can really appreciate it, and I'm just really glad that Bloc Party is back. So I'm definitely happy about this. I've been listening to it nonstop. Let me know in the comments what you think of Bloc Party's album 4. Let me know what your favorite songs are. Let me know which songs you don't really care for. Let me know where this album ranks with all of the rest of Bloc Party's albums. Let me know anything that you want about Bloc Party's 4, and that's pretty much it.